Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Ramakant Mahananda. Dear students, today I am here with a brand new video for you people. Here is a beautiful poem. I am here to explain you the lines of the poem and critically analyze the theme, the summary as well as the literary devices used in this particular poem. This poem is taken from your NCERT class 10th textbook, and this is a wonderful piece of literature. Let's try to move into the text and try to know who has really authored this poem. As far as the author's name is concerned, my dear children, here you can all see that on your screen you can find it, that this particular poem is written by, this particular poem has been written by an Australian author, okay, and she was none other than Robin Klein. Robin Klein was an Australian author born on 28th of February 1936 in New South Wales. Please do remember the name of this particular place. She tried various professions before becoming a full-time author. Okay, and most importantly, let me tell you that she published her very first short stories collection at the age of 16 only. And the poem, when we go through this particular literary work created by Robin Klein, especially Amanda, there we can really connect it to her personal life. Means she was really I think a young child when she composed this particular poem, and that's why she has expressed all her thoughts, views beautifully in the form of words. Means what thoughts come to the mind of a young girl, and how do they express, what kind of feelings comes to their mind, and how do they behave, especially during that particular teenage or the adolescence period. So this have been beautifully described and clarified in the poem by Robin Klein. If you want to read some of the most important works created by Robin Klein, then you must choose the ones that are written here. Came back to so I could fly. It's about two young children, okay, a young boy and a young girl. It's beautiful one, okay. Hitting Alison Ashley, this is another one. And halfway across the galaxy and turn left, this is another wonderful piece of literature she has created. Apart from these three beautiful novels, she has written many other short story also. Mostly she was famous for the short story writing, okay. And one thing, when you means you go to the higher classes, you shall get to know that the Australian authors were mainly famous, they were mostly famous for the short story writing, okay. They were very good at short story. The short story as a genre of literature, it came actually it evolved, it emerged in Australia, okay, right. So when we go through the poem, we can see that don't bite your nails, Amanda, don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda, stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. There is a languid emerald sea where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. I'm an orphan roaming the street. I pattern dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you, Amanda? I am Rapunzel, I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I will certainly never let down my bright hair. Stop that sucking at once, Amanda. You are always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. So here, my dear children, actually I have highlighted the stanzas in two different colors. Okay, the first, third, fifth and the seventh stanzas have been colored with red, and you can clearly understand that the speaker of these stanzas are the same person, okay. And when you refer it to the tone, as far as the tone is concerned, the language is concerned, whoever the speaker here in this particular stanza, she seems to be have the authority over someone. She seems to have the authority to instruct or give a set of instructions to someone. So who do you think has the authority to give instructions to a child? Obviously, either father or mother can do that. Okay, so here, as far as my speculations and my predictions are concerned, I suppose it's none other than her mother. I think it is Amanda's mother who has been giving her a set of instructions, and when we go through the poem there, we will be able to analyze what's the reason actually why she has been giving her all those instructions. Okay, right. And as far as the rhyming scheme is concerned, my dear children, the rhyming scheme I have discussed at the end, means it's also a literary device to know. So I have discussed all those things in details at the end of this particular video, so please be with me till the end of the video. It's going to be one of the best session for you. You are definitely going to enjoy. Now let us come to the second, fourth and the sixth stanza. That's colored in blue, that has been highlighted in blue color. So here you can see that these stanzas, okay, are a bit different from the stanza number 1, 3, 5 and 7. Okay, here the speaker seems to be depressed, the speaker seems to be calm and quiet and lost in the world of imagination. So that is very easily we can guess it. How can we say that that particular child is lost in the world of imagination? Here you see, here certain mentions are there, like mermaid, it's an imaginary character. Rapunzel, it's an imaginary character. Here orphan, I'm an orphan. She is not an orphan, but she considers herself to be an orphan. Okay, she wishes to be an orphan, so means she is again and again trying her best to go into the world of imagination. What may be the reason that the child is always trying her best to move out of the system where she has been living? So what may be the reasons? Maybe it is the authority of the parents, or maybe the strict rules and regulations made in the family, or maybe she is not enjoying the freedom that she wants to have in her life. Okay, so various reasons are there for a young girl to think of such kind of characters like mermaid is a completely imaginary character. Okay, it doesn't exist in the real life, but still she wants to be a mermaid, and she wants to drift blissfully in the big blue ocean. Okay, she wants to be the lone survivor there. Lone, sole inhabitant means one and only inhabitant. Soul means one and only. Okay, remember, so sole inhabitant. She wants to drift blissfully, she wants to enjoy blissfully, happily over there like a mermaid. Okay, she doesn't want the interference of anybody in her life. Similarly, when we come to the stanza number 4, here we can see very clearly that, my dear children, she wants to lead the life of an orphan. See, okay, that's why she says that I am an orphan roaming the street. I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden. Here, this is the beautiful line. The freedom is sweet. What she wants actually in her life, this is very clear in stanza number 4. The child wants to have freedom in her life. I think her parents are very strict. I don't know whether Robin Clean's parents were extremely strict, or they requested her, or they made her to follow the rules and regulations, okay, by words and letters. I don't know that. Okay, I don't have much about I don't know much about the poet, but I can certainly feel that these are some of the feelings that comes to the mind of the young children when they usually pass through the most difficult phase of their life, that is the adolescence period. Okay, so this is really wonderful, my dear children. Okay, and finally in the sixth stanza you can see that Rapunzel. Okay, it's a German fairy tale, my dear children. If you read the fairy tale, okay, Rapunzel, actually this particular girl was she was taken by a witch, and she was kept at the top of a tower, and she had no one around her. and she was extremely lonely over there. And at this meantime, what happens, a prince came to rescue her. And how the prince got to the top of the tower, that is really amazing. When you read the story of Rapunzel, then there you will get to know that Rapunzel had long bright hair, and with the help of that long bright hair, a prince came, and he could climb up to the top of the tower, and he could rescue the beautiful girl. Okay, so but does she want to go to the top of the tower? Obviously here our Amanda, the young child, the young teenager girl, wants to be a Rapunzel. Why why? That's the problem here, that's the question here. Okay, I have not a care. Here she mentions that she doesn't have anybody who care for her. Although I think parents are very careful, parents are very loving, they are very caring, and they are very particular about her life, but still she feels that, still she thinks that there is no one who care for her. I think you can easily connect this particular character with the character of Anne Frank that we discussed in the previous chapter. Okay, she was also a child who had loved many people in her life, but still she thought that, she wrote that, I have no real friend in my life. I think this is a time when the children feel that they don't have any real friend, because they have so many thoughts to share with somebody, but they find no one trustworthy. They can't confide in anybody also. That is why they say that, I have not a care, life in a tower is tranquil and rare. Okay, it means that is peaceful. She can have a peaceful life over the tower. If she once reaches to the top of the tower, nobody would come, not even her mother can come and interfere her life. Okay, and that would be a rare moment of freedom for her. I will certainly never let down my bride here. Here she says that, okay, in the story of Rapunzel, the character Rapunzel had to lay down her bright hair to help the boy come over the tower and rescue her. But here she doesn't want the company of anybody. She doesn't want any boy in her life. She doesn't want anybody, not even her mother and parents in her life. Okay, that's why she wants freedom in her life, and she says silence is golden, freedom is sweet. It's really a amazing poem, my dear children. Okay, and I hope you all will definitely enjoy it. Here I give to you people, for you people, I'm trying my best to give a short theme so that you would be able to enjoy it more. Okay, adolescence is the time when children experience various physical, social, and psychological changes. Okay, so these are various types of changes that a child finds in his or her life. It becomes the most crucial time for them. Parents become vigilant, and let me make it very clear, sometimes some parents become extra vigilant also, judge their every move, what their child is doing, where the child is going, what the child is eating. They become very particular about it. They regulate and try to teach the children the socially acceptable values. Many parents, they try to make their children one of the best citizen. Okay, most of the children during this phase of life behave indifferently. Some find it difficult to follow the instructions of parents. They prefer to stay alone and constantly look for a real friend to share their ideas and thoughts. This is what I have already mentioned. Okay, just like Anne Frank, Rapunzel, okay, and all these characters, Amanda was also looking for some peace in her life. She really wanted to share all her ideas and thoughts with a real friend only. Okay, many parents dictate the do's and don'ts to their children. I think this is a very common practice. I think, my dear children, it's a very common practice, and I think we all should stop this. Okay, the children, on the other hand, hesitate to speak to parents, remain lost in their own world of imagination. This poem talks about a young teenager who is being dictated by her mother. So altogether we can say that in this particular theme I have tried my best to make you understand that okay, why the poet has written this poem, or what is the central idea of this particular poem. Now we shall try to summarize this poem. Already I have explained the stanzas to you people, and I hope you have got it. Okay, now as far as the summary is concerned, my dear children, in this poem we find two speakers who in each alternate stanza. Okay, right, in each alternate stanzas you will find a new speaker. The speaker number one, according to me, is Amanda's mother. And as far as my analysis is concerned, I find the character of Amanda's mother to be a strict lady, but at the very same time I also find her to be a caring and a loving mother. Okay, she's very much concerned when she says that, don't eat that chocolates, Amanda, remember your acne, Amanda. Here I can easily understand that how much concern she has for her child. Okay, so she really wants her child to avoid all those things that's not good for her health. Okay, so that suggests that confirms and indicate that she was really a loving and caring mom. However, she was not taken in the right way, or she could not be understood by her daughter Amanda. The second speaker is the young girl Amanda, I think here, who is found lost in the world of her imagination. She is always found lost in the world of imagination. Sometimes she thinks of Rapunzel. In the first stanza, in the second stanza, we thought, we got to know that she was thinking to become a mermaid. In the fourth stanza, she imagined herself to be an orphan who roams freely on the street and has no interference in his life. He can play with the dust. He can make some patterns with his bare feet also. Okay, and in the sixth stanza, there we saw that again she goes back to her world of imagination. Okay, and she thinks to become a Rapunzel. She wanted to lead a life at the top of the tower. She wanted that particular solitude in her life. She wanted to lead a life full of freedom and peace. Now, Amanda's mother wants her daughter to behave in an appropriate way. This is the most important point that you also remember, and these points would help you to summarize the poem, my dear children. I think you should take screenshot of this one, and this would help you a lot to analyze the poem in a much better way. Okay, these are some of my viewpoints that I have mentioned over here. Apart from this, the interpretation of a poem can be done from various points of view. While reading a poem, you should keep your mind and brain open all the time. Try to connect it to all the things that you have learned so far. Try to connect it to all the characters that you have come across in your life, and by doing that, I think you would be able to have a better learning of the poem. Right? Clear? So with this, my dear children, we have finally come to the end of this particular poem. Now we shall discuss about the literary devices that we find in this particular poem. The first literary device, obviously I would say, is the rhyming scheme. Okay, it doesn't have a formal, or you can say proper rhyming scheme, but it does have. Okay, it does have a rhyming scheme. The rhyming scheme of this particular poem goes like A B A C C C A D A E F A G G G A H A. Okay, and now let's come to the second literary device that has been applied by the poet. The second literary device is alliteration. I have many times I have told you people about alliteration. So what is alliteration actually? It is the repetition of the consonant sounds. It is nothing but the repetition of the consonant sounds. Okay, and that's also in the initial letter of a particular line. Okay, like say for example, here I have given example from the poem itself. Stop that slouching and sit up straight. Now here you can see that stop as, slouching as, sit as, straight as. Here all these four words, okay, they start with the consonant sound sa. They start with the consonant sound sa. Alright, I hope you got the point. Clear? Now similarly, so that's why it is alliteration. Now we also have an allusion. What is allusion? Okay, allusion means something mystic, unreal, something that is unreal. What are the unreal characters here that you find? The unreal characters that we find here are mermaid. Okay, so what is a mermaid? An imaginary character from the fairy tales, or from the world of fairy tales. Rapunzel, it is another imaginary character who once was rescued from a tower. Okay, so in this way, these are the three major literary devices that I could find in this particular poem. Okay, apart from that, a deep analysis would be able to give you more literary devices also, but those will be the minor ones. But these are the major literary devices I found it in the this particular poem. I hope you all have enjoyed the poem. Thank you all very much. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.